Two of the best players to play in the Spfl of the 21st century collide in the middle here of the park, but there is only room for one winner. And we're about to find out who that is. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. And for some reason, I've put the names the wrong way about, but here, I think we all know who's who. Ronald, Boer, Stiliyan, Petrov.
Is that your way of changing the final decision?
Yeah, it could be the way of changing the vote, but I just realised that, but I'm too lazy to go and change it, so you're just going to have to deal with it. I'm sorry.
They wouldn't do this with a presidential election, would they? Bet they wish they
I
could,
think
though.
they did in 2020, like, to be fair, but yeah, brother, let me tell you something about it. Anyway, Ronald the Boer in the green and white hoops. Never looked worse, to be fair, and Stiliyan Petrov in the red, white and blue. Doesn't quite look right, but the two great players, two of the better midfielders we've seen in the 21st century. But which one of these two is going to go on? Only one man can move into the quarterfinals, and it's going to be Stiliyan Petrov. So, yeah, Stiliyan Petrov has defeated Ronald the Boer in a relatively close matchup. That is close 50. I think anything between 60 and 40% is close.
Especially when you're getting over 1,000 people voting for it.
Yeah, now we did see a vote earlier on a certain show, and someone described a 65% win as a landslide. I personally wouldn't go that far. I mean, 65% is a decent sized win, but it's not a landslide. I think a landslide's like 75% and up.
True, but that might have had millions of people voting on it, and I guess once you get into the millions and millions, then maybe 65% is a bit of a landslide to a degree. But yeah, it's all about the perception of numbers. But I understand. I've played the game long enough here. Petrov's won not because of his ability, it's because of his voters in his club. That's the reality here. I get the tribe mentality, but if we're all being brutally honest, the Boer's better.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's close. I think both of them are great. I personally would probably go with Ronald the Boer, but either way, Petrov, I mean, he's worthy of a place in the quarterfinals, and he's there, but I just think the Boer was slightly better. I mean, even, let's look at the passage here through to Ronald the Boer just beat Michael Lustig 52 to 48%.
That tells you all you need to know. No, and it's not that Lustig's bad, but if you just look at the Boer and the career he had, and another thing that's key as well, his name. Not that his name's better than Lustig, but when you hear his name, what does it mean? You know what I mean?
What does it mean?
Well, it means greatness, doesn't it? I mean, you associate that guy with being great.
The only thing I'm going to associate with him now is getting knocked out in the last 16 of our competition.
So seeing you hear Lustig, you think, a decent right back. I mean, that's all you think. But yeah, he's lost out here. Petrov, great midfielder. I'm not going to sit here and pretend he wasn't, but wasn't quite the Boer.
Well, let's see what the fans think. So Ryan Gall says Ronald was a better player overall, in my opinion, but Petrov was better in the SPL. Listen, I think you can make that argument, because I don't think anyone could really sit here and say that Petrov had a better career than Ronald. I just don't think that's true at all. If you want to argue Petrov maybe had a better career in Scotland, then potentially, but I mean, I'd still probably just go with Ronald, but I've no issue with that. Gunn says Henrik was a better player than most when he was at his peak. When you have a player like Ronaldinho saying Larsson was his idol, when the two were at Barcelona, King of Kings, Henrik Larsson. Celtic Kid says, wow, that's an accurate. Hail, hail, King of Kings. Christian Decken says Henrik Larsson was world class, no doubt about it, but he wasn't better than those at that level. You know what, man? I've sat here and I've praised Henrik Larsson, and he deserves praise, and he might be the best player to play in Scotland. No doubt about it. But I do think he gets overrated by some. Some suggest that he was like one of the best players in the world at his peak, and he just wasn't, because here's the reality. See, if he was one, he wouldn't have been at Celtic. Now, some people are going to say, oh, he moved to Bath. He'd have got that move earlier in his career.
Now here, see when he was at Celtic, right? Were Celtic rejecting massive bids for Henrik Larsson?
I mean,
because I don't recall.
No, I don't recall either.
I was very young, like, so.
Listen, no, he was great. There's no doubt about it. But I think, see, if he was one of the best players, he would have, he would have not been at Celtic for that period of time.
No, I agree. I mean, I mean, we don't need to talk about Henrik Larsson too much, because this isn't really about him. But to wrap it up, there's nothing wrong with not being one of the best players in the world, because that is a very select few.
Yeah, no, he was a great player. I just don't think he
and
was.
by the way, we're not talking about a period of time where footballers there was not what. See that late 90s, early 2000s period, man. Fantastic.
Aye, definitely. Lance Cool says, I'm a Tim, but it has to be Ronald. Petrov was great, but Ronald was a maestro. Also, how the fuck did Edward beat Kloss? No need to hate folk. We're winning this with Henrik Larsson. Celtic fan my arse says Corbal. LF67 Hail says De Boer was great in his prime. He didn't play in Scotland in his prime. He was finished by the time he came here. Petrov was going the other way, so Petrov for me. Gillian Stalker says Laudrup was the best old firm player. No one could match him. Matthew Miles says ask Chelsea fans about him. Worst Chelsea career than Sutton. Gillian says this is coming from a Celtic fan not interested. I don't see what Laudrup's Celtic career's got to do with his performance at Rangers, to be fair. And we've also got Matthew Miles replying to people without actually replying to them and just mentioning their name in a private, a separate
He tends
comments.
to do that. But what I would say is, right, you're right, it's SPFL player of the century. See Chris Sutton flopped at Chelsea.
Yeah. If he wants to play that card, ask Chelsea fans how they feel about Laudrup. Then ask Chelsea fans how they feel about to Andrew Flo, because they thought he was great.
Yeah.
So, it swings and roundabouts. If you want to say that, well, Laudrup's shite or whatever because his Chelsea career didn't go great, then you can't say that Andrew Flo's shite because his Chelsea career went really good. And it got him the move to Rangers.
You can pick and choose a lot of players' careers where they were great at one club but shite at another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To me, if you've got more good years than bad, but it's also it's irrelevant because what we're talking about here is this league. We're not talking about what they did at Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about Larsson's Barcelona career, wasn't really great, was it? Yeah, I mean, he was pretty much reduced to like a substitute. It's not like he was the main man there. Anyway, Liam Medium says Ronald and by some distance. Michael Kelly, Ronald was good but was a bit burnt out by the time he got to Rangers. Petrov was probably Celtic's best attacking midfielder of the past 25 years. Well, here Petrov takes on Cal McGregor up next, so we'll see how true that is. But he's not an attacking midfielder. Well, we'll see.
Also, a key thing to remember, the other comment there about Petrov, he was just getting better, he wasn't burnt out. But that doesn't mean he was better though, does it? We can make the argument where a lot of people are just at the start of their career looking to get better.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, guys, there you go. Petrov defeats De Boer. I think it's close. I personally would have went with De Boer, but Petrov's won. He's into the next round. And we've got half of the quarterfinals then determined. 4 out of the 8 have already been concluded. And yeah, it's 4 Celtic players in the last 8. Henrik Larsson, Cal McGregor, Stiliyan Petrov, and I can't even remember who the other guy was. I think it's Nakamura. No, did Larsson beat Nakamura? Who the heck?
Of course he did.
I can't remember. Who's the other guy then? Let me just quickly check here.
Nakamura got scudded.
It is Stiliyan Petrov versus Cal McGregor and Moravchik versus Henrik Larsson. That's the 2 quarterfinals so far. One of them's guaranteed to be in the final.
Well, we all know who's winning, man. Do we not? It's Henrik Larsson. Half our comments pretty much spoiled it already. But you know what? What I will say is fair play to the Celtic fans who acknowledge that De Boer is better, but it doesn't matter because Larsson's going to win anyway. We see the people calling out their own fans, saying, "Oh, you're not a real fan if you say one of the opposition players is better." That's just bullshit. You know what I mean? That's like me saying that fucking John Daly's better than Henrik Larsson, which of course he is. But it's time to play the game.
Alright guys, till next time, peace.